Emmanuel here. What I'm gonna do, instead of doing two videos, I'm gonna do kind of like a long video to show you how you can set this up. You can set FinOps infrastructure on AWS with Terraform. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Emmanuel Naoji. My passions are seeing people succeed at work, at life, and I provide technical solutions to help companies such as IBM, Comcast, and the others that I've worked with. And I also train people who aspire of becoming cloud and DevOps engineers. In this specific video, I'll show you how to set up an infrastructure that can allow you to set up a budget that you can monitor and track in a way that you can also detect cost anomalies and how to remediate all of those issues that you may come across. So everything is transparent. Everybody knows how you invest your resources or your finances, your money, into the services or resources that you use on the cloud, and specifically AWS in this video. What I did was to use Terraform to set this infrastructure. And this infrastructure will include budget monitoring, cost anomaly detection, automatic cost optimization, security, logging, and storage. So we're gonna do that by using or leveraging on these tools here. So we're gonna leverage on these tools. The first one is the AWS budgets, which will allow us to track and control spending, cost anomaly detection to identify unexpected costs, cloud watch alarms for real-time cost monitoring, guard duty for security insights, S3 buckets. This is where we will be storing our FinOps cost reports. Then we're gonna also set up a Lambda function to allow to stop underutilized EC2 instances or RDS, and you can add more resources that you do you want to monitor. And finally, as I said, we're using Terraform modules and environments for scalable infrastructure. This is the project structure. And you find this here on my Git repo, my Git repository. So you're gonna find it here. And this is a very simple infrastructure that you can set. What you need to have are the following. So you're gonna have, you need Terraform to be installed on your system. You're gonna need AWS CLI configured. And of course, you're gonna need the S3 bucket and DynamoDB table for Terraform state management. S3 bucket, you're gonna need one to use as your backend storage for your state file. DynamoDB table, that's for locking your state file. Then you'll need an SNS topic for cost anomaly alerts. One of the team members or two of the team members should be notified if anything happens. So part one, that's what I did, which was kind of like the setup, the project setup, and then so on and so forth. But today, what we're gonna do, we're gonna first we'll go into this into this location here. We will. This is to set up our backend where we'll be storing our state file. The state file is a file that keeps track of all of the resources that are part of your infrastructure. So you're gonna make sure that you keep it in a very safe place. All right. So that's why we need DynamoDB table for logging as well. And you need to store it remotely instead of keeping it on your local machine. So we'll configure this file here, the terraform.tfvars. Configure this here. In a real case scenario, you don't need to have this on your GitHub repo. You keep it like locally, unless this is a private repository. and you have like an multi-factor authentication, you need to set at least a couple of layers of security so that nobody gets access to this. All right. And this is how you're gonna do. That will be step number one. Step number two, what we do, we will go now to our environment. And in our case, we're gonna play in the dev environment, the development environment. This is like a playground. So we're gonna test this in there. And once the manager or the team members are okay with this, then you can move it to the stage environment and finally into production. And here we're gonna do the same. We're gonna configure this file here, and of course we'll have to modify with the desired backend parameters here. And after doing that, we go ahead and deploy. We'll deploy the infrastructure, and when we get that there, then we can check using these commands here. And once that's done, then we should be okay. And then these are kind of like the next steps. After you're satisfied with everything, then you go to stage environment, prod environment, and then at the end you can destroy the infrastructure if you don't need it. And these are the steps to do so. All right. So now what we need to do is to go to our desired or preferred command line. In my case, I'm using a Visual Studio Code. I'm using Visual Studio Code, and here I am. So what we need to do, you need to be where you need to be, right? So let me see here. So we're gonna do, we have that. We're gonna do, okay, so it looks like I'm not looking at the right place here. Okay, so we have run our Terraform apply, and that's what we have this here. We've run the Terraform apply, and what you see here, this is the go back to our buckets. So we're gonna have two buckets here. For now, we have just the backend, and the other buckets will be added, and where we'll be storing the reports for our budget or cost reports. But here in the backend, this is where we have our state file. And when you open this here, you're gonna get to this one here. And this is something that you don't show to people. Not everybody has access to this. So you need to protect this because it has, like here, sensitive attributes, that's something that you do not want people to have access to, right? So we're gonna do that. And now I'm gonna show you the rest of the infrastructure. So once you're done with everything, what you need to do, and by everything meaning that you have already you run the Terraform apply and everything is set. So you come to your buckets here. So we're gonna refresh that. And as I told you, you see we have this one. This is where we store our reports. And you click, we don't have any reports yet until when we reach the threshold that we set. Let me duplicate this one here. Let's go to the budget. So we go to the budget here. Click here, budget. You're gonna see our budget that we created. This is the FinOps budget. And you wanna get to the details. You're gonna see that our current versus budgeted. So we budget, like this is the maximum that we should spend like every month. So we're gonna spend that every month. And so far we have spent, this is like my account, right? So far I have spent this. And then this is the forecasted versus budgeted. So we, at the end of this month, because I'm not a big company, so it's just me, I will spend close to this one here. And here you have the alerts, the thresholds, okay, been set. You can click here to, you see that the budget is monthly. See here, monthly, and this is our budget. And the name of the budget. So we're gonna be receiving everything like start date, and then this is the end date. So we have it's like a 5-year kind of like a plan or budget. But let's click on the view alerts here. This is the threshold that we have set it that if we exceed 80%, meaning we get to $800, then we'll receive a notification. Okay? And how do we receive our notification? It is by going to the SNS here, SNS simple notification service, which will help us achieve that. So click here, and you want to see there should be a request which was sent to the email, like a click here subscription. And you can also do it manually because I didn't set it up, but you can also do it manually. Just see on the console, you can create a subscription here. You select your topic, the FinOps alerts. You select the protocol that you want to use, which could be Lambda, could be an email, could be an SMS. If you click SMS, then you're gonna need to add a phone number here. Somebody will be receiving that, or you can use something external like a platform application endpoint, and this could be anything. You can also integrate a Slack if you want to. So a lot of options here. A lot of options here. You can add an endpoint, which could be anything from anywhere, from any application. But for now, if you do email, then you just enter your email or the email of the team that's responsible for this infrastructure. And this is pretty much the basic infrastructure to keep track of your spending and budget and so on. And let's go to guard duty. Guard duty. Guard duty is it's a good service to integrate into your infrastructure because it monitors all of the threat that you may come across. So it's gonna monitor all of the threats, okay, like what it says here, from low, medium, critical, and high. And we've set it to, let's come here. So far we have 0, and if anything happens here, if there's a threat, we're gonna see it here. We're gonna see it here saying like 0 or 1 or something like that. So that's another that's a layer of security that you add to your infrastructure. And this is pretty much the end of our uh, video here. But before you go, you're gonna need to clean up. So you have to destroy your infrastructure, because this is like you're just training, you're practicing, and you may probably build one on your local machine, playground, or you can do it at work on your company's computer, but still you have to do some cleanup, right? And the next thing that you're gonna need to do is to use this command here. So all of the Terraform directories or modules, you have to delete them. I'm gonna do the same here. Delete that. You're gonna also have to delete like here we don't have the state or anything like that. So that's deleted. Let's say ls. Okay, that's good. And I added this just in case you need to add more permissions to your account to provision this one here. And I'll leave it that way. So we're gonna go two steps up, and we go to the modules and look for the backend. And here we'll do the same too. We wanna do auto, we wanna do destroy, auto approve, okay? And here we wanna destroy our S3 bucket as well as the DynamoDB table that we set to lock our state file. So we're gonna get that. And when you come across something like this one here, it means that you're dealing with versioning as well as your bucket having something. You can either go here, find your bucket. You're gonna go find your bucket. You're gonna refresh. This is the bucket we're dealing with. You just have to empty that bucket. So you're gonna select the bucket. You're gonna empty the bucket. So copy that, follow the instructions, and copy, and then empty. And when you empty the bucket, you go back here. That should resolve it. Oh, otherwise, you may have the versioning issue there. But let's see. Okay, so it didn't really happen. So that's done. And again, here you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna remove the Terraform modules that were installed on your local machine. You're gonna remove, in this case, the state file first. For this specific infrastructure, it was stored on our local machine, so you're gonna have to remove it, and the backup, and that's done. So we should be set. And pretty much this is the end. This is how you set up an infrastructure to track, monitor, and secure your budget, your spending. Yeah. And if you have any other ideas about how to do this, please just share them with me and everybody else in the comment box. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. God bless.